morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It is Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us Thursday morning, December the 5th, as the snow continues to fall here in the Blackstone Valley. Have a nice drive in there, Bob Lauder. Hello, Bob.
Sure did. Nice to see the snow. Realize it's going to melt and we'll have some more water and rain.
Well,
Great.
let's hope so. But right now the snow has picked up. So nice big flakes are coming on down. So, all right. Well, it's Christmas, so there we go. And it makes everything look Christmassy. Make sure you drive by up Park Avenue. Go take a look at the Christmas trees that are for sale at the Holy Trinity Parish, because they're all snow covered now. And
that must look nice.
Ooh, wow. You get a lot of oohs and ahs as you go by.
Well, I hope a lot of people stopping to purchase them, too.
Well, see, the problem now is when the snow on the trees and you purchase your trees, now you got to bring it home. Now you got to put it like in a garage and dry it out, or else your snow is going to melt in your living room.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't want that.
Okay.
So anyway, that's none of my concern. That's neither here nor there.
And what do you have for? Maybe I asked you last week. Do you have a real tree, an artificial tree?
This year, after at least 33 years of a real tree, we moved on to an artificial.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for the ease, and I didn't want to go with a pre-lit tree, but I couldn't find one that was not pre-lit.
Why not? Why didn't you?
I don't know.
Why don't you like?
The only one I found was at a big box store that was about 10 feet tall. Well, it's too tall.
What do you find wrong with a pre-lit tree?
Well, I'm worried what happens when the lights go out.
Oh.
If one light goes out, do they all go out on a pre-lit tree? I don't know. So
I don't know. We have had a pre-lit tree for the last few years, and we've never had that problem.
Okay. Well, eventually a light's gonna burn out.
Okay.
And then what do you do? You know?
I don't know. Well, put candles on the tree.
Oh, there's a great idea. So yeah, we went with just because the kids. I mean, my daughter still lives at home, but she's at college now. So we decided to. It would have just been my wife and I to go pick out a real tree, and then it would just been us setting it up. And it's really in our house. It's really a 3-person job. No. Actually, putting the tree up in the stand and like that.
What does Good Dave Richards have in his living room?
In terms of trees.
Yes, I wasn't asking for the full decor.
It changes from year to year. It's just Denise and me, and we don't always get a chance to put up a tree. But when we do, it's a very small one that means a lot to us that we got as a gift a long time ago. It's only about 2 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
And it's got fiber optic strands in it that make colored lights with a disc that's on the inside. It just means something to us, and we put it on, and we like it. But sometimes we don't get a chance to put it up. There's been a few years where we just get so busy here at the station we don't get a chance to put it up for ourselves. And like that.
Sounds like a great tree. Now, does anybody still have the aluminum trees with the revolving lights under them?
How 60s? How 60s can you get? Remember that? Alcoa used to put them out. They were looking for,
In the 80s, my parents hadn't used one in a long time, but pulled out the revolving disc. And I said, are you going to use this ever again? And they said, no. I said, can I have it? Yeah. And so I brought it into my room, just to illuminate the room, not a tree or anything.
Cool.
So it was very psychedelic in my room for a little while.
Whoa.
It was a lot of fun.
We got an update on the weather. The snowflakes, which have been little tiny things and inconsequential all morning long.
And now.
Yes, that's right. As I heard a man say on the radio this morning, no big deal getting around in it. It is now big snowflakes. And I just went out and did the steps because Bob was telling me, I said, Bob, how was it out there? Earlier it was no big deal. It was not even worth shoveling. He said, it's worth shoveling now. So I went out. And yes, it is. So if you are listening in and you're going in to open up a shop or something like that, you're going to find you're going to have to shovel this morning, at least around the walkway in. And a little salt will probably be a good idea, too, because it's, what's the temp right now as we broadcast live on Thursday morning?
33.
33, yeah. So, yeah, it's right there. So anyway, as I was saying, it's gotten a little bit more, and we heard also that there are traffic tie-ups around our city. We don't
That's
know
why
if it's
Sue's running a
because of
little
an
late.
accident. We don't know if there's an accident or not, but we do know that traffic is very slow in some areas of the city. And so there's a little update for you on our little winter storm, which is supposed to be back to rain and not accumulate hardly anything today. But right now,
see.
it's looking like it. You know, if we were doing that give me an inch thing,
Could have been today.
it could have been today,
Yeah.
which would have been so early in the month that we wouldn't have
No one
even
would have
counted
guessed
it. That's right. Nobody would have guessed it. Yeah.
December 6th. That would-
What's
that's not
what's
gonna
the Give Me an Inch
We
program?
did this contest last year. Guess
Yeah.
guess which day will get an inch of snow.
Okay.
And if your day won,
And
you
we
get some
we had a
prizes.
little thing
What, a
out
shovel?
near the we had a little thing out near the steps in the
It was the official
back.
give me the inch,
That's right. It
contest.
was and you went out there with a yardstick and you measured. If it wasn't an inch, no
It was
no inch
the
today.
official Pepin Lumber yardstick.
That's right, because Pepin Lumber they were a sponsor.
yeah.
So
you got a
there you
gift
go.
card from Pepin Lumber. And
I thought you just
I
got
think
a
Beal
snow
Snows.
shovel.
Nah, well, you could use that though.
Okay.
All right, I do.
Only
Stu will be
after we
coming in.
measured.
Yes. So I got a question for Bob.
Uh-oh.
Legal question. I said, we're gonna remember to ask this on Bob because we had the story on Tuesday. I said, gonna remember to ask Bob this coming Thursday. So we have this guy down in Hopkinton, Rhode Island, and he was arrested for setting illegal snares,
Oh.
traps.
Okay.
One caught a dog and
Mm-hmm.
one caught a deer.
They weren't his deer or his dog.
The dog survived. The deer died.
Okay.
All right. He has admitted to setting the snares.
Because
okay?
All right.
because he wanted to protect his garden.
His garden, because the deers are coming in and eating whatever he's growing. Now, he's been charged with 13 other counts, of which they don't say what they are.
All right.
And he's pleaded not guilty to those.
Okay.
So the question is, but he just pled guilty to setting the snares. Wouldn't the other charges be snare related? And, why wouldn't he be pleading guilty to those charges?
Well,
Like
they didn't specify what the charges.
endangerment of the animals. And
They
things
didn't
like-
specify what the
well,
charges
not in our
are.
story, so
Okay, so you don't know.
Yeah.
The charges could have been anything. The fact that he had tinted windows on his car or anything bizarre like that.
That's going to
so,
be a real problem.
Tinted
unless you know what the specific charges are,
Well, I don't
you can't
have it,
figure
yeah.
out why he pled not guilty.
Yeah.
But I would think there's, as I said before, there's a whole lot of reasons why you plead not guilty when you go to an arraignment. And that is to give you an opportunity to see whether or not a plea bargain, where the prosecutor and you can agree to a sentence and a penalty better than if the case went to a trial. So that gives you the opportunity to do that. I would consider him doing it. I don't know why he pled guilty to setting the traps. But he may not have had...
Yeah, he admitted to that, according to the West Greenwich Police.
Okay, he may not have had legal counsel at the time and just decided to do that on his own.
We
Maybe he's
understand
just an honest guy.
Maybe.
Wait a minute, that's pejorative. You're saying that if you plead not guilty to something that you absolutely know in your heart that you did, you're being dishonest. No, at an arraignment, you are entering a plea that says, I am not admitting to guilt.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily saying I'm
Well, yeah,
innocent.
the technicality is not guilty as charged. The charge could be wrong.
No, you're just saying I'm not admitting guilt.
All right.
And that's basically it.
Now, we always say...
And you think that's not dishonest?
I don't think it's dishonest at an arraignment if you were charged with X crime to go before the judge and say, I am not admitting to the guilt of this crime, and let's have the prosecution prove it.
Okay. Now, we've always heard in the past that
Mr.
the...
Mr. Russell doesn't Mr.
that's Richard's over
Mr.
there.
Russell, God.
People often
I'm
confuse
just
me with my
going
older
back
brother.
into the dark ages.
No, it's not that. It's just not guilty as charged would mean you could plead not guilty if the charge was wrong. If they had a charge on the statutes and they charged you with it, but you didn't do it that way, then you would still say not guilty to that charge. That's how my logical mind works.
Well, I think we may be making a different interpretation between the actual words coming out of your mouth. If you're saying I'm not guilty, which most people would probably do at the time, but it's meaning I am not admitting to the guilt of this particular charge. I wanted to go forward to have a trial on the merits to see whether or not it can be proven against me.
Now,
I'm not running into court and saying I'm completely innocent of it. I didn't kill the person with the axe. No.
okay. Now, the other... We've always heard, and I've always heard it growing up, that, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Right.
That's true.
Is that still a good adage?
Yes.
Okay.
For
so
example,
It's not very
because-
practical.
No,
but-
because I'm looking at the gentleman that was with the snares.
Right.
He's of Southeastern Asian descent. I don't think he even speaks English because he had to have an interpreter at the arraignment. So if he's from that culture, where yeah, we set these snare traps all the time, and it's not it's no big deal, and he doesn't know why it's a big deal here. Is that any kind of defense?
Not that I can see. No.
Okay. You have to know
I would
the
think that
situation
if-
in the country you're in, basically.
I would think that under circumstances, the law is going to prevail. And if the law says you cannot set traps, and he goes out and does it, then I think that he's violated the law. The fact that he says, I didn't know about it,
Yeah.
it may be a mitigating circumstance. The judge may say, okay, the law still stands, but instead of penalizing you X number of dollars or X number of days of incarceration, it's going to be a lower amount, then that may be mitigating circumstances. But I don't think just walking into court and saying, I didn't know it was illegal to hit my wife over the head with the axe is going to get you off the hook. No.
Okay. Well, I'm just
Well-
going by different cultural
Right.
differences here. That's a little different. Your example.
I'll open up a totally different can of worms that we don't even have to inspect afterwards, just for rhetorical value. I understand the presumption of a government that all citizens have a duty to know the laws they live by or live under. I understand that, and I see the value in that presumption. However, my personal view is they have made too many laws, too many archaic laws, too many laws that conflict with each other, and have never done the spring cleaning to get rid of old antiquated laws, that I would challenge the presumption that a citizen has, not that he has the duty to know, but has the ability to know what the current laws are.
Well, a citizen may not know what a particular current law is, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the citizen is
Absolved
let off
from
the hook,
obeying it,
absolved
yeah.
from having to
Yeah.
obey it.
I get
Right.
it.
But
yeah.
Dave's right with these archaic laws that go back to, let's say, 1700s or 1600s. You know, you can't ride a cow on Sunday down Main Street.
I'm not sure that's still on the books, but okay.
I'm pretty sure it might be somewhere. So, but anyway, Sue Tester McKenzie has made it in through the snow. How's the driving?
It wasn't the driving. I wasn't expecting there to still be construction. So I head down Privilege Street to Roland Street because I was going to Pace.
Right.
Roland Street all the way back to Privilege. So I
Went around.
Wow.
banged a Yui
All right.
and went the other direction. But no, it wasn't bad.
Okay.
I can handle snow. Remember, I used to drive limos for many years.
I know.
So
I know.
snow wasn't stopping me.
So speaking of construction, I'm glad you bring it up, Sue. I'm envisioning accidents happening, and I don't know if you have driven on it yet. Maybe you have, Sue. Okay, you go down Route 146A and you're going south,
Correct.
and you're coming up to the overhead bridge of 146, and there's a new light there. Okay,
Okay, I didn't realize it was a
Uh,
new light. I
and
tried to
it's-
avoid that.
and it's operational.
All
Yes.
And now you're on the left, and cars are coming from the right that have never come that way before.
Right. I did that the other day.
And I'm like, what is going on?
So
Where are these? Oh, because that you remember you used to have that big swing around where you tried
Which
to get
was dangerous in itself.
That was dangerous too. Well, that's going away. And so if
That's
you're
gone.
if you're coming down 146 and want to go on to 146A north, you get off just before the bridge, come under the bridge, and then you hit a light.
All right.
So, but if you're coming south on 146A, that light's there, and now you got headlights shooting at you that have never shot at you before. And I'm like, I don't know if this is the completed thing they want, or is this temporary? Because
The
I
lights
can
look-
see accidents happening here.
Oh, big time. The lights look permanent.
I'm glad you agree with me. on this.
Yes, so when I came down, I've been down a couple times. The first time was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So the sign says if you want to go 146 North, of course, in easier terms, if you want to go to Walmart, you take that left, but it's not a quote real exit yet. It's got all the abutments
Yeah.
and so it doesn't look like it's real. But when you come off of it, like Joe said, there's a light, and now traffic is heading down. So here I am sitting at a light, and here is traffic going 146 north. So now they have a stop sign, a light. I have a light. So now my light turns green. Now I go this way. Now there's another light
That's right.
before it can actually turn onto 146A heading towards Walmart. It's pretty strange.
It throws you because you're in the left lane, and the cars that want to cut in front of you are in the right lane coming at you. It seems like everything is backwards.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be here.
Left exits have never
Been a friend of
been
yours?
no.
Yeah.
There's a few in Connecticut when I was in the limo business that you'd be like, okay, don't forget, stay in the left lane.
Yeah.
Stay in the left lane.
I've taken Route 99 now for months to avoid this construction area.
Okay.
So
I
I
do
don't know what they're
too.
doing.
I do too.
It's-
But when
It's tough to describe it until you actually do it, and you'll see what we're
Right.
talking about. But
so
nothing's
that
happened yet.
turn
I'm
off,
like, oh boy.
that turn off is before the merge of 146 from
Yeah.
the Worcester area and the 146 from North Smithfield area. You know how there's that big merge,
Yeah.
and then after the merge, you used to have the big left turn.
To reverse your direction.
That is
Yeah.
no longer.
Yeah, you do it before there. now.
Yeah, so that turn off is now before the merge.
Okay.
Well, I hope they can make it safer. Nothing's happened yet, but I can envision terrible things happening here.
Well, I think the problem isn't so much. I think the problem is people just not realizing, oh, damn, I got a
Yes,
light.
That's right.
I have to stop.
I gotta stop
I think
there.
that's the problem. It's not that.
The other
You know-
problem was during construction, because I drove it every day, in that lane that's now used by the populace was only used by construction workers that were there. So it didn't seem like a real. Oh, that's a temporary road. Oh, okay, that's no big deal.
Yeah.
But now it's a real road,
Yeah,
and it throws you when you first come across it. So
yeah.
be aware.
I'll go down there just to see what's happening.
Just go down to see
Yeah,
it.
you'll have to. You can go from, say, the beef barn. If you get on 146 from the beef barn and head south, you'll be able to go from there. You don't need to go all the way to Worcester.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and Program. More coming your way. The comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with RE/MAX Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
It's the worldwide sound of Owen Radio.
It's Coffee and on Owen. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Bob Blotter, Sue Tessier McKenzie from the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times, and Sue, time for your first message from the newspaper.
Well, good morning. I hope you all got to enter the contest for the stocking stuffer giveaway. I believe they're choosing the winner on Saturday, which is the 7th. At that point, I will have everything needed, so I will be the contact person to get you your gift certificates from that contest. In the meantime, if you need anything at the office, again, end of year, people are trying to get in their last PTO days and so on, so it's a little sporadic. It's a little sporadic being short-staffed, but if you need anything from the office, give me a call. Call my cell phone at 401-487-4136.
All right, Sue, very good. A couple of things going on here in the news. This story happened last July here in the city of Woonsocket, where a man is accused. He was indicted and then accused of a deadly hit-and-run crash that killed the other man. Do you remember, does the story sound familiar?
Where was it?
On East School Street.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Andrew Martin allegedly struck 31-year-old Michael LaFave intentionally, I think with his car.
Yes.
Right. LaFave later died from his injuries. Martin is being held without bail. He has a January 8th court date. This is all over a feud. I think it was over a woman. I'm not 100% positive on that, but I think that's what that was about. And
Yes, it was.
and thank you. Okay. And so he allegedly hit the guy, and then took off. But they found him, and he was just in court the other day. And what did he plead, Bob?
Not guilty.
Not guilty is absolutely correct, because that's what you do, especially when death is one of the things.
Got
So
to
he
talk
comes
to
back on
Sue
January.
about two things, though. If I
Okay.
can interrupt you.
All right.
Okay. Great headline in the paper a couple of days ago. Back in the Chuck Baldelli administration, there was what I thought was one of the best headlines that I've seen in a newspaper. It was when
Which one you mean?
Mayor Baldelli was talking at that time about the sewage system that we had in Woonsocket, and the headline was "Mayor Seeks More Sludge." But the headline Tuesday beats that all the way. Massachusetts man goes to Wonderland and wakes up in Woonsocket.
Oh, my God.
That was great. I am
but
going to
I
say
That's
it
got to
this
be
way.
Russ.
It is Russ.
It is Russ.
Did the reporters write the headlines too? I didn't think that was done.
No, they do.
Okay.
And, of course, editorial, I forget what the word is,
Okay.
but they can choose to change it.
I see. See, when I read that,
Yeah.
I immediately went to, he was trying to get to Wonderland Racetrack, which is in Boston, or was in Boston. I don't even
Right.
think it's there anymore. I go, and he ended up in Woonsocket. I'm like, wow, he
No,
missed by a lot.
I just made the connection that,
We had
he
Mouse
was
in
heading
Wonderland
for
book.
Wonderland, and unfortunately, Woonsocket doesn't measure up. But I thought it was a great
Well,
headline.
he was hiding his drugs allegedly in the Alice in Wonderland book.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Well, they'll never look there, Sue.
Right?
It's
That's
still
why
a
they
great
get
headline.
dogs, though,
they-
because the dogs will
Oh yeah,
figure it out.
when the dogs they come around, they sniff, and when they sit down, ooh, they found something. That's
Yep.
the rule. I got another question for Bob on this one. Two Providence men are accused of setting a brush fire at Fidelity Investments in Smithfield. They say 25-year-old Axel Bandoma and 23-year-old Asan Fay are each charged 6th-degree arson. What is 6th degree?
I would
That is
have
so
to look
far,
that
That
up.
is so far down.
I have no idea what that would be.
Would that be by mistake?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sue can look it up.
Look it up,
She's
six-
starting to look it up.
It
on the-
is actually 6th-degree arson in Rhode Island. They've been released on $10,000 bail. Their next court date is set for February 12th.
It is great being here with Sue because every
She's a
time a
fountain of
legal question
information.
comes up,
We asked Sue.
she checks it out on the internet and gets the answer.
All right.
I haven't done an arson case in something
Oh, I'm
like
sure.
35 years. I've only
But
done
you
one in
know-
my life.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, ready?
What do you
Yes.
got? 6th degree.
In Rhode Island, sixth degree arson is a felony that involves knowingly causing, aiding, or I can't say it.
Okay.
The destruction of woodlands by fire. The penalty for a conviction is up to 2 years in prison, a fine of up to $1,000, or both.
So since you haven't set a structure on fire or a person,
Right.
you're just burning down the forest, it becomes 6th degree arson. Okay. Well, and then you're intentionally doing it, right?
Yes.
You're intentionally
knowingly
This isn't a
causing.
campfire that got out of control.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm just curious now. Are there first, second, third, fourth, fifth degrees of arson?
Well, first
I
degree.
imagine so.
First degree arson, you would think so. You're planning to
Right,
burn
right.
a
Burn
building
the
down.
building or something. Well, of course, I'm
intentionally
looking up
setting it.
just for the heck of it. I'm looking up fifth degree arson and see what that says.
All right.
Criminal offense that involves intentionally damaging another person's property, starting a fire, or causing an explosion without their consent.
Who's going to give that consent?
Right?
Can you please blow up my house?
Wow.
The law is funny sometimes, Bob.
Can you imagine how good I would have been on the bar exam if I'd had this kind of technology 50 years
Right?
ago?
Well, wouldn't this be considered cheating?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But you can maybe now, maybe the law students now. Can I bring my phone in? Can I use my phone to answer
I-
questions?
Doubt if that's true.
How long does it take to take the bar exam?
Back in when I did it 50 years
yeah.
ago, both in Virginia and in Rhode Island, it was 2 days.
2 to 8 hour days?
Probably 6-hour days, but yeah. And
I
the
hope you break for lunch.
yeah, but
Wow.
when I was
All
taking it in
day.
Virginia, it was all taken in one location, and the one location happened to be Roanoke, Virginia at the time, and the bar exam was being given in the Hotel Roanoke. Now, the Hotel Roanoke back in the 1970s was this big, elegant hotel with a huge ballroom and stuff like that, and they allotted the seats according to alphabet. Well, my name starts with L. I'm in the middle of the alphabet. The first bunch of kids from A through up to L, those kids all took the bar exam in the hotel ballroom. Great.
Uh-oh. L through Z?
L through Z took their exams in the parking garage of the hotel. They're washing
Wow.
cars down at the end of the building. Cars are going by you all the time.
They concentrate.
It was different.
Wow.
That's
okay.
funny. Yeah, how do you concentrate on that?
Jeez, that is funny. So the big story back to law again was what occurred in New York City yesterday morning with the basically the assassination of the CEO for United Healthcare.
And it seems like the police have managed to recover a cell phone that they
Yes.
think may have been dropped by the
The assailant,
assailant.
which would be really silly on that person's part.
Well, I would imagine the cell phone would have all kinds of information as to who the
Yes.
owner was.
Yeah.
So it could be easily tracked down.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching some news up in Boston about this, and they were talking to a former police commissioner up there. They said they've got such good photos of the assailant.
I heard.
Oh, the pictures are crystal clear. You can see his eyes. You can see his nose. He is wearing a mask underneath his nose.
Wow.
But But now things we don't think about, but cops do. They're looking at his clothing, and they go. It looks like he's wearing newer. That's a newer jacket he's wearing, so they know it's not someone that's living on
Right.
the streets. So that narrows down where they can go look. So they'll probably get an arrest on this person very, very soon.
Well, the photographs that I had seen that they published all seem to be of the back of the individual's head. And a lot of the time when you look at photographs that are presented for bank robberies or convenience store robberies, the photographs seem to be really terrible. Taken from a high angle and not showing the individual's face. And I'm wondering why security cameras are not lowered down in position so that they have a more horizontal look toward the particular person involved.
So the assailants can't reach up and grab them.
Well,
You got to have them far away so you can't
yeah, but
reach
if
them.
I'm walking into a convenience store and attempting to rob the cashier, I'm probably not reaching over behind the register to grab the security camera. I'm concentrating on getting the money and getting out of there real fast. And it just surprises me that so many pictures seem to be so terrible
Yeah.
in being able to identify the perpetrators.
They should have the, wherever they put the cameras.
Right.
And at a lower level, even if it was a secondary camera or not even a real camera, and just say, smile, you're on camera. Like where it's right there at your
Yeah.
level. I don't get it myself.
Oh,
No wonder you're so good in advertising. You come up with ways in which people can improve their
But
the
it's
quality
just-
of their service.
it was just so bizarre yesterday, though, to hear this that 50-year-old Brian Thompson was shot and killed. I'm like, he's our new state senator elect.
Oh,
Same,
geez.
well, same name, same
Okay.
same name. I don't know about the age being the same, but then okay, he's the CEO of United Healthcare. But they say it
Right.
was a targeted attack, and now his wife has come out and said we've been receiving threats.
Yeah, I
So,
heard that.
is it a disgruntled ex-worker, a disgruntled worker, someone that subscribes to United Healthcare
And
wasn't-
is disgruntled.
and is disgruntled? They didn't pay for this procedure or that procedure or whatever, or is it something else? I just don't know.
Wild
at this
guess,
point.
I would think it was a subscriber whose someone in his family was
That's what it sounds like. Right off the
Denied.
bat. Yeah,
Right.
that you're not going to pay for.
Denied and then
Whatever.
passed or something serious.
Yeah.
Right.
So, all right. I don't know why you'd go after the CEO, but I guess that was
Right,
They
right.
knew where he was going to be and where he was going.
Yeah.
So
that would also seem to indicate some really thoughtful planning, and maybe
well, now
it's
it's
They
first,
somebody
did
now
say
it's first
that.
degree.
They
maybe
did
it's
say
somebody
that.
who was working for the company, because I think an outsider may have had a lot of trouble figuring out whether or not the individual is going to be at a particular location, going to be
Yeah.
speaking there, what time he would be
Because
arriving.
he was heading
Yeah.
to a meeting of
Right.
with investors. So
Right.
unless it's public knowledge, I'm not sure. All right, we're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program. More coming your way. And Sue, time for a second message from the Blackstone Valley Call-in Times.
Oh, do I look like a deer in headlights? I
Yes.
thought you did the first one as a recording.
No.
Okay, now this one totally threw me. Anyway, even though it's the end of the year, I know some of you have spent your budgets on advertising and you have nothing left, but you still need to do something. We are offering front page, bottom advertising, which if you look at today's paper, you will see Colette's Furniture down there. And those spots, when you book 2 or more, are only $100 each. So we can still make it affordable for you, even though, budgets are a little weak at this time, but we can help you get your message out there, especially promoting last-minute gift ideas, last-minute gift certificates, even party reservations. You can give us a call at 487-4136. Actually, that's giving me a direct call, 401-487-4136.
All right, Sue, thanks. More coffee and coming up. Time for a look at the forecast being brought to you by KFC.
Rain
that one
and
was
snow
off the top.
showers mixing and alternating back and forth all day, then ending around dinner time tonight. Patchy blowing snow between 1 and 2 p.m. Patchy fog before noon, high of 40. Southwest winds gusting to over 40 miles per hour during the day. When it's over, little or no snow accumulation is expected to be standing on the ground. Tonight, mostly clear skies, overnight low of 23 with a west wind over 40 miles per hour. Friday's weather, sunshine and 32, northwest winds over 30 miles per hour. Saturday, sunshine with a high of 36 for the Main Street holiday stroll, a west breeze. Sunday, partly sunny and 42. Monday, 70% chance of rain likely, mainly in the afternoon, partly sunny before that with a high of 51. Tuesday, 60% chance of rain likely, mostly cloudy and 56 degrees. And warmer still on Wednesday with rain likely and mostly cloudy skies.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with the cloudy skies, we still got some light snow and 36 degrees. Get the KFC Festive Feast for $25.99 and fill the table with 6 tenders, 6 pieces of classic fried chicken, 2 sides, and 3 sauces.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love. Get hands-on with our creative crafts and learn how to create beautiful charcuterie bouquets that will wow your friends and family at the Honey Shop Academy, in the same building as the famous Honey Shop store next to Navigant Credit Union on Park Avenue. Did you ever want to learn about foraging for mushroom hunting? Our expert instructors will guide you through the wonders of nature, dive into the fascinating world of beekeeping, herbal medicine, permaculture, and so much more. With our horticultural gardening methods, you'll cultivate the skills to grow a thriving garden right at home. Don't miss out on this opportunity to enrich your life, make new friends, and explore your passions. Call the Honey Shop Academy today at the Honey Shop today. 401-766-1488 to learn about our upcoming classes or to schedule your own private group session at the Honey Shop Academy at the Honey Shop store.
Hello, this is Kevin Callahan. Join me and Pat Holland in the Cheap Seats with Pat and Kevin. Sports talk every Saturday morning at 9 here on ON, AM, and FM.
Coffee In on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Sue Tesser McKenzie and attorney Bob Lauder. And Bob, time for your first message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. This is attorney Bob Lauder. I'd like to talk to you this morning about the kind of challenges which can arise when a last will and testament of a deceased is presented to the probate court for administration. Sometimes there are individuals who feel that the deceased did not sufficiently remember them in bequests, and they attempt to have the document declared to be invalid in order that the assets may pass under the laws of intestacy, and thus afford to those individuals a legacy which will be larger than the terms of the will. One of the means of challenge is to allege that at the time of the creation of the last will and testament, the testator, that is, the one who's creating the will, was acting under undue influence or duress, and was not acting on his or her own. One of the seminal cases in Rhode Island concerning undue influence is that of Barroso versus Messier. In 1945, the testatrix maid, who was in her early 80s at the time and primarily spoke English, decided to make a will. She called her attorney to her home, and he spoke in French also. He came to the home and drafted the document in English, and her signature was witnessed by the attorney and a neighbor. At the time she signed the will, her son Joseph and his family were living on her property, and the testatrix provided in her last will and testament that upon her death all of her property passed to Joseph. 4 years later, Joseph's wife died, and the testatrix moved into the home of her son, Jean. Thereafter, the testatrix deeded the property conveyed in her real estate to Jean, while reserving for herself a life estate in the real estate. When Joseph found out about the deed, he brought a bill of equity in the Superior Court, seeking to have the deed annulled upon the ground that his mother executed the deed under the influence of Jean. The mother died after the litigation began, and allegations concerning her competency came before the court as well. The judge instructed the jury that even though Joseph's opinion of the validity of the will might not be material to the issue of his mother's competency at the time she executed the will, the fact that the deed, had been questioned on the grounds of undue influence might be material to the issue of the validity of the will. The Supreme Court disagreed. The state Supreme Court ruled that the trial justice had been wrong. The Supreme Court ruled that it is the mere speculation to say that because the testatrix allegedly yielded undue influence when she made the deed to Jean in 1949, that she was acting under undue influence when she made the will in 1945. In order to have the will declared void, it was necessary to prove evidence of the undue influence of Joseph at the time that the will was created, 4 years prior to the deed. If you think my office may have assisted you in legal matters, please call me for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Sounds like a Twilight Zone episode.
yeah.
I thought it was just me. I'm sitting there
No.
going, okay, you lost me at the first Gene.
Okay.
but it's they did quite a few episodes of people contesting the will, and
Yep.
you forgot me, and they bring in the 4 rotten kids,
Right.
and they get nothing.
Could
kind
be.
of thing. So
Yeah, you
it's
see
like-
those.
it's
You
always
see
a-
those shows, which
Oh yeah,
are like.
it's good. It's good stuff.
That's not
You
to
know
say you
what?
shouldn't make a will, though. You
Well, that's
really
That was
should.
your final payback, okay? That's what it was. Your final payback. And I'm not talking about that. Yours. I'm talking about, like you just said, they bring in the 4 rotten kids.
Okay, you all get $1, and the majority goes to the
Right.
animal shelter or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
If you write it
enjoy.
correctly, that's what's going to happen.
It can happen, though. All right. Well, down in West Warwick, the West Warwick Town Council says, okay, no more homeless encampments in town. They will then be illegal.
What are they going to do with people who live in those camps?
That's not our problem, Bob.
They're
Well,
just going to move them to another state.
No,
another
they were
town.
on the news. The one
did
of
they
the
say?
chiefs or something.
Police chief?
Yeah, because I think it was a fire chief, actually. I'm not
Okay.
sure. But basically, they're not looking to just say, okay, X time, X day, boom, you're out. They are looking to assist them. The
How?
homelessness factor is like beyond, I think, most people's imagination.
There's 11 encampments, estimated 11, just in West Warwick.
Yeah. There's a
with,
lot.
With 40 people in
Yeah.
them.
All right, so you're saying this is illegal. You're going to the individual who is living in an encampment, and what are you saying? Are you saying we're going to charge you with violating the law and hope to put you in jail? Are we going to be charging you with violating the law and hope that you will move to another location outside of West Warwick? What is their actual realistic
That's
plan?
what they're working on. That's what they're
They
not
haven't-
looking.
They haven't come up with a plan, did
They
Yeah,
haven't
they-
come up
they
with a plan.
haven't,
They've
but
just
they
passed
have-
a law that says it's illegal with no further plan.
Yeah.
Great work.
But they aren't. Like they had the one up in Providence where they said X day, X time, and then boom, they wanted to get everybody out. I just find homelessness to be. I don't think people grasp the reality. I think many people think that it's all druggies, alcoholics, so on and so forth. And that's not the case. There are many of these people that work, and that was one of the people that they interviewed. There are a lot of these people that work. Somebody here from the city hall said, we have 2 couples, both work, and just can't afford to pay rent, so now we're helping them. And I kind of keep going off on this because I think there should be a little bit more available for people to help make the ends meet before you end up out in the streets. And I'm not talking all or nothing. I'm talking a little bit of help here, a little bit of help there, just like the milk fund. The milk fund is intended for working poor. If you're getting SNAP benefits, you shouldn't be getting milk fund because milk fund is intended for working poor that don't get other benefits. And there should be more of those programs, and then maybe you could, like it's almost like moving money. If we don't need it here, let's put some here. And maybe you can avoid some of the homelessness. But these rents are through the roof.
So NBC 10 is saying that officials in West Warwick are not going there. They won't be conducting sweeps of the encampments as they get out. What they plan to do, there is a special response team that West Warwick has put together. They want to visit the encampments, and this is in an effort to get the homeless. Well, what do you need to find another place to live? So there's somewhat of a plan that they're trying to do to get them out of the camps and into something a little more permanent.
I would think that it would be good for West Warwick to work on getting a resolution to the problem before they start making the problem illegal, because if they're making the problem illegal, they have the opportunity to arrest the individuals, and then
Yeah.
it becomes a question of, okay, now that we've arrested somebody, what are we going to do from there on? Are we going to be imposing a fine upon them? They can't pay a fine. They don't have money. Are we going to be incarcerating them in jail? If we're doing that, how are we going to be paying for that? And what is the location of the jail that they're going to be incarcerated in? And none of this seems to be a realistic answer to a very serious problem.
I don't know why West Warwick is just one of many towns, cities
Oh,
that
absolutely.
have started doing this. They're not the first ones.
Right.
They're like 10th.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know if they're getting advice from a lawyer that said, well, let's get something on the books first and then we'll deal with it. So I don't know.
The
don't
lawyer
know either,
obviously isn't Bob because
No.
no.
My reflection would be different.
Yeah.
And it's not, as I see, just putting together and saying we're having a committee work on this. That sounds nice, but that is not a realistic answer. This is what we are doing in a positive way to accomplish this. We are finding places for these people to live that is not going to be in tent encampments. We are finding places where these people can actually get employment. Something solid, not just.
But see, that's
the
happening
verbals.
everywhere, Bob. Right
Yeah.
here in the city, it's the
Yes.
same thing. We're talking to the homeless. We're trying to figure out what they need. We're doing this. When you have properties that are then bought up by investors, that they're not looking for Section 8s or low income housing. They're looking to turn this into a loft or you know what I mean. So there are properties out there, but they're being invested as opposed to making them more suitable living arrangements. Because it's when you have an individual that is now homeless, and I'm just going to use round numbers, okay? Rents, let's just say $1,500 a month. You now need first and last month is $3,000. You need $3,000 before you can even consider anything. Now you need your credit. You need to have because that's part of it. They want to have you to have a good credit rating. So it's so difficult to even get out of the hole that was created for whatever reason. You don't know. I don't know. I think some people are homeless due to circumstances, and other people think they're all druggies and alcoholics, and I do not think that. I do think it's circumstances have caused that.
I think you are correct on that. But I don't think there's a realistic answer in which to castigate the landlords. You have an individual who may have purchased a three-decker back sometime in the 1980s for X number of dollars. Their circumstances have changed. They want to sell the property. They're looking to sell the property for the most that they can get for it. They sell it to investor. Investor has put money into buying this property at a high value. They're looking to recover that by having high rents.
Right, but I'm not
And-
saying they're doing anything wrong. No, I'm
Right.
not saying the investors. No, the investors are buying the properties. I understand that. I don't think they're doing anything wrong. What I'm trying to say is for cities and towns to try to help the homeless, when all the rents and everything are, like you say, the lofts and whatnot, they're not doing anything wrong. Let me make that clear. Investors aren't doing anything wrong. The problem is there aren't enough properties to go around that are affordable for these people to get their foot in the door.
That's true. Now, I think we mentioned one time before about the Woonsocket Housing Authority. Woonsocket Housing Authority built Borden Boulevard in Morin Heights back in the early 1950s. And I think at that time it was an attempt to try and have housing for the soldiers who were coming back from World War II, young families starting out. And then in the 1960s, they built the 4 high-rises for the homeless population, for the elderly population. But as far as I know, the Housing Authority hasn't really constructed anything since probably the late 1960s. I don't know what their financial circumstances are
Right.
or how they were able to fund those original projects, but I would think that a municipal housing authority would be looking at how can we address this by creating more affordable properties like we did back in the 50s and in the 60s. And that might be a partial answer, but then you have to figure out where are they going to get the funding to do this?
Right.
Where would the locations be? We're a small city, 8 square miles, and we don't have large areas of undeveloped property right now. So I don't know where they would be able to put something like that. But that might be something that can be looked into in a positive way as opposed to just
Even
wordplay
some of
and
the
saying
empty-
we're investigating.
Even some of the empty, and I don't know all the empty, so I don't pretend to know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. But, some of these mills that you can turn into,
Apartments.
apartments and so on, something that is the cities and or towns are in control of, that they can then, okay, so we won't need $3,000 from you to move in. we'll work with you. That's really the only way they can work with an individual is if they're controlling the rent side of it. If they're not, how?
Right.
It's like
All right, we're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program, and more coming up as we go right up until 9 o'clock. Bob, time for a second message from your law office.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. The second case I'd like to discuss with you this morning involves an heir at law who was omitted from a last will and testament. The case is that of Illinois State Trust Company versus Conte, and was decided in the Federal District Court for the District of Rhode Island. The testator had 4 children, 3 of whom were living, and a 4th who had died, but was survived by a child that was born outside of wedlock. The testator was making the will in the 1940s, when public opinion concerning children born out of wedlock was far more censorious than it is today. The testator left all of his property to his 3 living children, with no mention of the grandson. The laws of the state of Rhode Island at the time, as well as now, provided that a child born outside of wedlock shall be capable of inheriting or transmitting inheritance on the part of his mother in like manner as if he was born in wedlock. The grandson challenged the will of the deceased, claiming that his existence had been withheld from his grandfather, and he was entitled to 1/4 interest in the estate, the share to which his mother would have been entitled if she had been surviving him. The Federal District Court disagreed. The court wrote, "Unless proved otherwise by statute, the validity of a will is not affected by mistake unless fraud or undue influence was perpetrated upon the testator, or the mistake involves a want of testamentary intent. A court cannot read something into a will unless authorized to do so by statute. Neither may the court speculate as to how the testator might have transmitted his property if the existence of the heirs, unknown to him at the time, had been brought to his attention. Whatever the testator would have done under such circumstances requires satisfactory proof, and while the plaintiff alleged collusion and conspiracy, there was no specific evidence in this case of constructive fraud or the failure to disclose to the grandfather the fact of the grandchild's existence. If you think my office may be assistant to you in legal matters, please call me for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob, and the Coffee and program will continue. Stick around.
Let's talk about the entertainment at Chan's on Main Street in Woonsocket tomorrow night, December 6th at 8 o'clock. Sarah Potenza has always been larger than life, from TV performances in front of 12 million viewers to chart-topping album releases. Special VIP sound check and premium seating is $50, but you can get $35 at the door. Buy them in advance for only $30. Sarah Potenza, Friday night at Chan's. Then on Saturday night, right after the holiday stroll finishes up, it'll be the original Ace on the Bass with the Jay Giles Band. Celebrating the music of the Jay Giles Band, it's Danny Klein's Full House. $25 in advance, $30 at the door, 8 o'clock at Chan's, 267 Main Street in Woonsocket, and oh yeah, they got great food there. Drop in during the holiday stroll and fortify yourself at Chan's. It's back again. Bowling for Milk. It's a fun way to raise money for the 2024 Milk Fund Appeal. Join your friends and neighbors at the Walnut Hill Bowling Lanes this Sunday, December 8th from 1 to 4 p.m. for strike spares and maybe a few gutter balls, but plenty of fun at Bowling for Milk. Just $25 gets you 2 hours of bowling plus shoes rental. Proceeds go to the Milk Fund. To add to the fun, ON Radio's Cruisin' Bruce Palmer will be there in person, spinning the oldies, taking requests, and demonstrating his bowling technique. The Patriots don't play this week, so join us for Bowling for Milk this Sunday, December 8th, from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Walnut Hill Bowl on Diamond Hill Road. It's a party to help the Milk Fund.
It's Coffee and on ON Radio. We hope you can join us on Sunday for Bowling for Milk at the Walnut Hill Bowling Lanes from 1 to 4 p.m. $25 for 2 hours of bowling. And shoes, too. So come on
Sounds
down.
like fun.
And it benefits the Milk Fund. All right, Rhode Island does lead the nation in something, sort of good, in lung cancer screening and diagnosis. This is according to the American Lung Association. A 2024 study says Rhode Island is the first in the nation for early diagnosis at nearly 35%, and also first in the nation for lung cancer screening at almost 29%. So,
Great.
yay. But what's weird is Rhode Island leads the nation in lung cancer deaths. Maybe that's why we lead in screening and
Right.
diagnosis as well.
I'm surprised at that.
I am too.
And, when I was a kid, people smoking cigarettes seemed to be pretty common. I very seldom see people
the only people I
smoking
see
cigarettes
smoking,
now.
The only place I see people smoking cigarettes really is in their vehicles. Sometimes I'll see it while driving around.
All right.
It does say lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths in Rhode Island. I think I said that wrong, not leading the nation.
Right.
But of all the cancer deaths in Rhode Island, lung cancer is the tops.
Wow.
And the American Cancer Society estimates that 440 Rhode Islanders will die of lung cancer this year, and 960 will be diagnosed.
Jeez.
That's a lot. So
It does sound a lot.
yeah, it doesn't say it's because of smoking, but who knows? All right, the Pope has a new Pope Mobile.
Oh, cool.
wow.
It's an all-electric Pope Mobile.
Okay.
Got to save the environment.
What
And
is
when-
the manufacturer? What's it like?
It's Mercedes-Benz.
Whoa.
And
Now,
Okay.
Pope Mobile, that's just for like the parades and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
so
It's
you-
not an actual.
oh no, it's a real car.
Oh, okay.
Someone drives it, but so he can stand up in the back
Right.
and wave to the masses. But if
Right.
someone
I mean, I
shoots
know it's a
him
real
or
car,
shoots
but you
at him,
can't drive it.
He doesn't drive it.
He can't be out
No,
there.
he's-
It's more for parades.
Yeah,
and
he's
stuff.
not driving it. Someone else is. And they get it for free.
There you go.
The CEO of Mercedes-Benz presented the vehicle to the Pope Wednesday at the Vatican. Here you go. The German automaker has been supplying the vehicles for the Pope for nearly 100 years.
Jeez.
Wow. The CEO,
Still don't buy your spot in heaven, just saying.
I think it does.
No,
I think that's what
I
they're
don't
going
think
for
so.
him.
Don't think so.
CEO Ola Kalinius says the all-electric Pope Mobile sends a clear call for electromobility and decarbonization. Mercedes-Benz says a team of specialists worked for over a year to build the handcrafted vehicle, which is based on the new G580 model, in case you're in the market for a Mercedes.
Right?
You get one that looks like the Pope Mobile.
Fantastic.
Can't you see Bob riding around Woonsocket with a waving, to the
Right.
crowds?
I think that would be counterproductive.
I mean, put your name and your phone number on the side of the car.
The Pope Mobile.
Yeah. Right.
We talked about the CEO of United Healthcare that was shot and killed yesterday, and then this story comes out: seniors in America are paying more for healthcare than seniors in other wealthy countries, according to a new study. And I can't surprise you. But
No, especially since things like medication in the U.S. Is so much more expensive than in foreign countries, in Canada or in the U.K. And it seems to be it's the same product.
yeah,
But
the survey shows about 25% of American seniors spent at least $2,000 out of pocket on healthcare last year. Researchers say under 5% of seniors in France and the Netherlands spent at least $2,000. The study shows those in Australia, Germany, and Sweden, and several other countries spend less on healthcare than seniors in America. And I actually have a friend.
But does this have anything to do with the where you live? You're healthier in this region, healthier in that region. You eat better in that region. Like they
I
talk
would
about
say
the Mediterranean.
that is parts of it.
Yeah, like
diet.
Mediterranean diet. People say is
And,
healthier and
Like the Netherlands and Sweden, Amsterdam, they bike and walk a lot more.
yeah.
A lot more.
I think it's that.
So I have a friend. His son and my son graduated high school together. They only had one child. He married a woman years ago that was from Belgium, and they are going to retire in a couple of years, and they are moving to Belgium.
now, why are
Really?
they making the move?
Healthcare.
Okay.
It's better. Well, they say they think it's better, but it's also a lot cheaper. It might even be free.
Is any of that because does the Belgian government provide coverage for health care that is not provided in the U.S.?
No, I just think it's free. Plus,
Free.
her family is a lot of her family's still over there. And he said she came over here to be with me to raise our family here, but now that our son is up and married, there's nothing. He's got no
Nothing
more
keeping
family.
him here,
There's
yeah.
nothing keeping us here, and he also likes the beer in Belgium a lot. So might
Okay.
as well
You know,
get it.
if
might
I
as well
was
get it
making a
fresh.
position where
No,
I
I
was going
just
to live,
think it's
the
sad.
quality of the beer would be right up there.
Right? But I think, having to move to a different city, town, state, mainly state, country, because of health care, is mind-boggling. And I, for one, could go on and on about Rhode Island, and it's just mind-boggling to me that you just don't get the care needed.
Because
US,
it's
yeah.
expensive or not available.
Right, right, out of reach to the average person. So, I mean, like when I was just told from Rhode Island Hospital, no, we're not going to do that procedure because we don't know why that's happening. But if you did the procedure, it would give you an indication of why it's happening.
Diagnostic,
And instead,
right.
to go to UMass to get it done is appalling to me.
Alrighty, let's see.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I'm not too crazy about this idea. There's a CEO out in San Francisco of a tech startup company, and he has openly said he's looking for employees who are willing to work more hours. Instead of the 40-hour work week, he wants an 84-hour
Oh, for the
work week.
Is he paying for
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean,
all right.
Dask Gupta leads a company called Greptile that focuses on artificial intelligence in San Francisco. He shared on social media that he expects his team to be available from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. at least 5 days a week, and often on the weekends, to stay competitive in this AI market. While Gupta has faced a lot of criticism for the demanding schedule, he's also received several job applications. He's looking to hire software engineers who are ready to put in a lot of hard work with the promise of significant financial rewards in the future.
Okay.
It may come. It may
It
not
may
come.
not.
I mean, the bottom might fall out on this. Look what happened with the .com companies about 20 years ago. That was the next big thing. Put your money in that.
Well, when
There it all
Elon
goes.
Musk and Barack Ramaswamy were talking about trying to get people to work on their project in reducing the costs of government by having people work for larger periods of time and less money, or working for free, it sounds as though a lot of the entrepreneurs are joining the same forces of saying, we're great and you should work for us for very little, if nothing. Not a good position.
No. So,
Not a fair position to the employees at all.
but I can see where if you're younger, if you're in your 20s and you're right out of college, and you're single
And you have no other job.
and you have no other job, or other life,
I was just going to say, you don't want a life.
or you don't want a life, this might be right up your alley.
There are some people
so,
like
okay,
that.
give it a shot. If you get a couple hours off on a Sunday and that's all you need, okay.
You see, like Christina, my coworker, and I couldn't do her job sitting at a desk doing everything she does, which is a lot. But she couldn't do my job, which is going out on the road. So, and we're right here together working for the same company. So there are people out there that are willing to do
I'm sure there are.
just that.
All right, we got to run. We've run out of time. We're a little over right now, but thank you for listening in as always. Sue Tessier McKenzie, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the week.
All right, and Bob Lotta, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me. Hope to see you next week.
All right, I'm Joe Callahan. Have a great day, everyone. Stay tuned for Do You Remember is coming your way at 9:30. Gary Smith and the crew, and the Milk Fund auction today at 4 on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
The 37-year-old man who was indicted in a deadly hit-and-run crash has pleaded not guilty. The July crash in Woonsocket happened when Andrew Martin allegedly struck 31-year-old Michael Lefebvre intentionally.